With me now to discuss this and much more is Republican Congressman from Florida, Randy Fine. He sits on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Thanks for being here. This is an interesting moment and an important day. I'm curious what you think. Vladimir Putin sees a deadline and blows past it once again. What you think, what you'd like the president to do now after Putin blows through another deadline. Is it time to move on the sanctions bill that is so much support in the Senate and the House?
Well, Kate, thanks for having me this morning. Look, it's a difficult situation. You're dealing with people who don't share our values and who are willing to sacrifice their own people in an endless war, something we would never do in this country. And I'm grateful that President Trump is trying to solve a war that didn't start under him, and even Vladimir Putin has admitted wouldn't have started had he been president. I think it's a difficult situation. I know the president's working very hard on it, and I'm optimistic that we will get somewhere. It may just take a little bit longer than any of us want.
I mean, do you believe any deadline is going to do anything at this point? Because I think there's been 7 deadlines that the president has set and Putin has blown through.
Well, I think that there have to be consequences at some point. The president has to balance those.
What do you think the consequences should be now?
Well, I think I'm going to trust the president's judgment. He's closer to the situation. He's in those conversations, and he has those details. But what I know is he's committed to ending the bloodshed. Look, Russia's just willing to send their people in over and over and over again to get killed, because this is part of Vladimir Putin's much larger strategy to recreate the Soviet Union. And then you've got issues in Ukraine where, look, they've got financial incentives for the war to never end. So it's a very difficult situation, and that the president's trying to make the best of. The fact that they're at least willing to talk about talking is a better situation than we were in 6 months ago.
But they're not talking. They're not talking at all. I mean, the key here is that, and it seems that we're I don't know if we call this the end, but we're ending where it began, which is that, as many smart analysts and members of Congress have said, is that Putin only responds to strength. And the strength means consequences. And Putin's not going to end the war unless he is forced to, which would be economic consequences, which would be why there are 80-plus co-sponsors, bipartisan, for the Blumenthal-Graham sanctions bill that's working in the Senate, that President Trump has not said that he's committed or will support. Do you want him to throw his support behind that in order to bring about the talks?
He's got information that I don't have, and he's a big believer in using carrots and sticks. If the president says he needs that stick, then I'll be behind him 100%. But I think he is still hopeful. The president is a man of great optimism, and you can hear that. He's hopeful that he can bring these things together, and I think he's going to try to play that optimism out. But there will come a time, I assume, when he says, I'm done being optimistic, and I'm going to bring out the big stick. And when he does that, I'll be there to support him.
Yeah, it's one thing is like, for a lot of people, that was 7 deadlines ago. The French president, Emmanuel Macron, said Friday that Putin, the way he put it is that Putin would be duping Donald Trump if he failed to go along with Trump's deadlines. Part of what he said during a press conference with the German chancellor was, if Putin blew through another deadline, is it means President Putin has once again played President Trump. Has Putin played President Trump?
No, and look, Emmanuel Macron, someone who's done more to create violence in the Middle East these days than just about anybody, is in no position to talk about bringing wars to an end. He's just angry that we're not going to let him do his little fake two-state solution summit in the United States. Look, I think President Trump is doing the right thing. I support him. He's having those discussions. He's trying to create a difficult situation, and I'm optimistic he'll get it done.
We are going to have a big jobs report coming out, the August jobs report, in a little over, who knows what time it is anymore. It's 1:00 on CNN News Central. It will be coming out shortly, and we will bring it to everyone. When it does, are you going to believe the numbers?
I'm going to look at the numbers. Look, the people who put these numbers together are human, and they're fallible, and they make mistakes. And if you go back and you look how these numbers always get put out, and then they always get changed later.
It wasn't that they make mistakes. The reason that the president kicked out the commissioner of Bureau of Labor Statistics was he said that they were faking it. They were cooking the books, which there's no evidence of that. So do you think
When the numbers are always wrong in one direction, you have reason to be suspect, and so
there's no
I
evidence
understand
of
that. What I can tell you is
it's when more of the businesses respond and give the information and submit and respond to the ask from the Labor Department, then they can adjust what they have. It's like I get more information, we can adjust the numbers. That's been happening from the beginning of time. Yes, there has been more variable. That's for a lot of reasons, which they say fewer businesses are actually responding to these surveys, but that doesn't mean they're cooking the books.
Well, I think that when there's problems with methodology, sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's not. But when the numbers are always wrong in one direction, there's reason to have. I think the methodologies were problematic, and we see this in all kinds of things where numbers always tend to benefit the left, and when the facts come out, they don't anymore. And so I think the president did the right thing there, and we'll see what these numbers are like today. What I will tell you is I did 81 visits in my district over the August recess, met with manufacturers of all types, and they're very optimistic about the Trump economy. It was extraordinary. I met with boat builders and fishermen and all kinds of different companies, and they're very optimistic about where we are right now.
It was declared that this is the Trump economy officially, though it took a moment. He still said it was the Biden economy for a bit. So we'll see what the Trump economy is starting to look like now. Congressman Randy Fine,